on the corner. I'm posted on the corner.
Posted on the corner with yours truly incognito.
And DJ Missy.
New and making noise, DJ Missy.
Come on with it.
Hey, man, let's talk talent.
Come on.
It's running in his blood.
All the way.
Tron's in the studio.
Yo. What's up, everybody?
What's up, Tron, man? You got this 150.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about how this record came about.
Man, so it was actually after me and my wife came from Miami. We had like a whole road trip down there. It was a 10-hour road trip, and we came down there and I came back. I just kind of had this idea of just like, living life to the fullest and just like, you know what I mean? Kind of being like in the moment, you with your lady or with your man or whatever, and you just, go and just, I don't know, live life to the fullest, and it just kind of came about. So that was kind of like the criteria of it. It was like, all right, we just came from Miami. We just had this dope-ass vacation and stuff. And now let's try to sum it up, you know what I'm saying, in the song. And then on top of that, the producer that I've been working with, he's one of my, actually, we don't really know each other formally, but he's a dude out of college and stuff. And he just comes with the heat. And so I was like, yeah, these two go together, He's giving me what I need, and this is the product. So, that's how it kind of came about.
That's dope. So how would you describe your sound to your new potential fans?
I would say that like over the years now, because I started doing music in 2018 as far as just like myself, and I came to actually both my parents with an EP that I did. I made the beats and I wrote all the songs, and just had like a buddy of mine that I met in college engineered and stuff, and just kind of let them know that I was really serious about this and I really wanted to pursue this. And so with that being said, I knew it was going to be some time to find your sound, because you got to see where you fit, see what sounds good with you, you know what I'm saying, because not everything works for everybody, you know what I'm saying. So I always look at my sound to this point, because it's been like, it's been a few years now. It's 2023 now, which is crazy for me. But I'd say like a mixture of hip hop, a little bit of R&B and pop, and then I also say like a little alternative, like a little rock influence in there too, because that's just I'm a drummer too. So I've always wanted to. I was gonna say I've always wanted to add some kind of drumming or like live drums to my sound or whatever. So I'm like, baby steps, right? So baby steps will be to involve it in a beat and have it in your track, and maybe something that I could play to, and then like we'll go from there. So I also produce songs, but I think that's also a process, especially when you're recording live instruments and whatnot. You gotta really know what you're doing too, and have everything like properly set up and whatnot. But I got an electric drum set now, so I can do that easier and put in my beats. Yeah. I can't don't want the neighbors, you know what I'm saying? Back in mom's crib, you got the big, the big set and whatnot, but you living with neighborhoods that just, you know what I'm saying?
They not with it.
Close to each other.
I'm creative.
I know, I'm in my element, bro. Come on now. No, but I still diamond back with the electric set. Sometimes the neighbors be like, oh, we heard that tapping over there. I'm like, that was me.
All right. So how did you know that music was the lane you wanted to be into, besides it, you growing up around it?
I think because I think everyone has like a certain stigma or like maybe expectation, no matter where they come from. So if your parents were basketball players, you might want to be a basketball player. So like for me, it's crazy, right? Because like my first dream was to be a monster truck driver, like a NASCAR driver, and so both my parents obviously did not want me to do that, because it's a very dangerous sport. But more on top of the sense of, I think I was just given the freedom of just kind of choosing what path I wanted to go to, and music kind of came about. I was trying out sports for a minute, and then I remember my dad was working with this like British band and at DARP, and I asked the guy, could I just hop on his drum set, just kind of mess around, because at that point I had taken like guitar, and I was like, not really my favorite thing. I wanted to get an instrument, but I just wanted to fall in love with one, and it was drums. And so I just kept drumming. Every time they would have a practice, I'd be like, yo, can I get in the drum room? They were so nice, they let me do it. And then I started taking percussion and got a drum set and just started doing it more in school and whatnot. And then I started producing, so it just kind of like it kind of grew, so to say.
Yeah.
But my main focus was drumming for a long time, like to the point to where I was actually gonna go to Berkeley up in Boston, but Full Sail gave me more of an opportunity to like be more like expand my horizon. Not to say that other school wasn't, it kind of specified a little bit more. If you try out with an instrument, you're gonna play that instrument. For sure. You know what I'm saying? So like I was able to kind of explore my producer myself, my artist self, I say sides of myself that I was a little afraid of, even in high school and stuff. Like I remember everyone used to be like, why don't you get in the choir? Why are you just drumming? Because your mom's a singer. I'm like, nah, man, I can't sing like that. Like, what y'all talking about? You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm like, I wouldn't have the first like idea because it's not something that it was always something that I was just kind of like, man, because you go to that lane, they're going to expect this. But I kind of had to learn that you also can't live life that way. Like, even my engineer, shout out L, we still are like homeboys to this day. He kind of got me out of that mentality when we were in college and kind of say, yo, like, explore your artist self. Maybe you can make something out of it. It's like better to try and to not be good to just say you didn't try at all. You know what I'm saying? And I always told my parents, I was like, be real with me. I don't want to try this and expose it to the world. And then that's my reality. Let me know if I'm not good enough because, I have other things that I've been, exploring, especially like I said, like instruments was my biggest thing. So like, if this doesn't work out, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like I don't like think of other stuff as well. You know what I'm saying? You have to live life that way. But, of course I put my all into this. And so, since then, and you know what I'm saying? And since being at Full Sail, it just kind of kept growing. So, it's a continuing experience. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like every day is a new like day.
That's dope.
When it came to artistry, was your government name the first name you went with, or did you surf through names, or are you just like Tron is it?
It's so crazy. Like at first, I kind of wanted to just be my Instagram name, Time Fly By, because it comes from this like old Xbox name and all this like old like nerdy like origin stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like old Halo stuff. So I'm like, I wanted to use that for a minute, but then I just remember throughout high school, everyone used to think that my name was just a nickname or just something that I just went by. And I'm like, no, that's actually on my, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have a driver's license back then, so I couldn't just be like, hey, like, they had to just kind of go with my word. Like, even teachers, they'd be like, hey, why they call you Tron? I'm like, oh, yeah, that's my name. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not really anything else, but yeah. So, I just thought that maybe that would be fitting. And the only thing that I don't like about my name, right, is because I had, he looking at me like, what? It's like, the time that you need to use it, besides just like, okay, like I had to do TV stuff recently, and I have a Tron chain, and I also have this Vegeta chain. I couldn't wear either of them because Disney owns Tron. So I'm like, oh shoot!
I was thinking
so I
about
wear
that.
my chain. I was like, oh man, like and
it's my name.
I was like, that's my name. But that's what I said. I literally said that. I was like, but that's my name though, and I can't use it. They're like, no. So
nah, bro.
But besides that, and that's just a little funny story. But I originally, what was funny was I was gonna say I released my first EP under Tron Austin, but it was actually my dad's idea to just go by Tron because it was kind of like short to the point. But I always use my songwriting and my producing name as Tron Austin. Because,
that's
it's like first name, last name.
Right. Come on now.
Introduction, because,
right.
I know there's people who also have Tron in their name. There's a rapper, Baby Tron, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like there's just other things that involve that word. So, you know what I'm saying? I had to understand that too. So I'm like, but yeah, that's
That's what's up.
That's why I use Tron to say.
So you brought up the you having to do something on TV. So MTV's Family Legacy is dropping. So how was that experience for you?
It was so like because I had kind of a little bit of experience with TV like when I was younger. My mother had the whole VH1 show going on, and they had the Are You the Girl show before that. So like it was like for me it was cool because I was used to seeing the cameras in my mom's crib, but I wasn't used to seeing cameras in my crib. You know what I'm saying? With my wife and whatnot. Like we're the whole neighborhood. They don't even know anything about me really, so it's like they came this one day and it's all these cars with all these cameras and all this stuff. I was like, I got a neighborhood in my business. And everyone's just walking their dogs and stuff. They're like, yo, what's going on? And we have like 4 dogs, so like they probably look at us just like the dog folks or whatever. But like they're like, what's going on? So but it was actually a really dope experience because it kind of gives you the opportunity. When people kind of have maybe a presumption or maybe they think a certain way because you grew up in the industry, so you might not be able. It's like, what I'm saying, ABC might not be able to connect with folk and all this stuff. It kind of gives you the opportunity to prove, not really just prove the stigma wrong, but to kind of just show you. If people think that about you, it is what it is. But if you're really just not that, it'll show. You know what I mean? And I think that this show was kind of the first step in that kind of process because I'm like, we weren't living in a generation where there were celebrities with celebrity children that could really talk on TV and stuff. Like you had the like Wizard of Oz days with like Judy Garland and like her daughter and stuff, but like Ozzy Osbourne and his kids or something. But like it wasn't so highlighted to the point to where it's like now we're in social media. Now it's like
we want to see what
what's
y'all
going
doing.
on, what's your everyday routine, like, you know. So it makes it way more intuitive to be able to have a platform such as a MTV, you know, and Paramount Plus when it's actually out now, so you guys can see that, you know, the Paramount Plus people, and it gives you an opportunity. And you know what was cool to me too is that I didn't really grow up around other celebrity kids like that. I mean, outside of the ones that are just immediately like, you know,
Family
of course,
type.
like T-Boz, you know what I'm saying, family and
Happy
whatnot.
birthday, auntie.
Happy birthday, auntie. Yeah, happy birthday, auntie. I love you. Love you so much. But, you know, outside of them, I didn't grow up. I mean, I have a few friends, but it's not really like one of those things where I was just always around them. So, like, it was kind of interesting to see how it was. I didn't see everyone's episode, but like they had me paired up with Soraya Brandy's daughter.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of interesting to hear what she had to say and like how the similarities and the differences and stuff. Because, you know, when you grow up and in whatever you grow up in, it just kind of makes you feel like, yeah, it takes a minute for you to kind of understand where you are and what kind of position you're in. So once you get it, it's like, dang, you know, it'd be interesting to see, you know, the other people who are in that kind of position where it's like, oh, did you see Drake this weekend, or did you like, you know, they think it's like this whole thing or whatever, but like, you know, it's interesting to see their perspective on it too. So, you know, and I appreciate them giving the platform to do that, because I think it's especially even like Chester Bennington. I'm a big Linkin Park fan, so I was like, oh, yo, that's crazy.
That's
like,
dope.
you know, Notorious B.I.G., like they have a lot of like big names in there. So even myself, like I would like still see myself probably even like at least looking through some other episodes to just kind of see, you know, it's it's curiosity at its peak for me, because it's like, you know, similar, you know, folks in your department or whatever. So, you know, it was cool.
That's dope.
It's super cool.
When it comes to this industry, when you think of your mom and you think of your father, if you could pick one record that you like from mom the most and one record from your father that you enjoyed the most, which one you going with?
So I think TLC records is, you know, it's interesting because he wrote, you know, a lot of TLC songs too. So, you know, but I always get heat for this sometimes, but Creep is actually my favorite TLC song, and it also has to do with the production as well. You know what I'm saying? Because as someone who produces, you always you look at music from that standpoint.
Yeah.
You're not just looking as a listener. You're like, oh man, how did they get that sound? How did they get these chords?
Exactly.
How did they put that in that melody? So, you know, I like to dissect. So I always look at the most complex or the most like the songs that just kind of pique my curiosity. So Creep always has been that one since I was a kid that just kind of made me think, oh man, really, that's just that song when it comes on.
And it's a
man.
classic
Yeah.
too.
It's a
Come on now.
Classic sound.
Yeah.
You know
And then I'm not gonna say a song that he did with them, because then that would just be another one of their songs. But I think Gwen Stefani's song "Cool." That's a classic. Not everyone like, you know, we say that's more our generation, but like, you know, that's one of those songs that's just like, I always look at. It's like, you know, the whole Whitney Houston "I Will Always Love You" situation where it's kind of timeless. You could play it in 2045 and it would still hold the same weight.
Yes.
So I look at maybe that, you know, I'm not saying that song is the same song, but I'm just saying that like in the context of like longevity songs that just kind of timeless, you know, that's the first one that comes off the head. I'm sure if I thought I could probably, you know, name some more. So, but
sure.
Yeah, those are two that come off the head.
For sure.
I hear you have a passion for the drums and percussion. What are other instruments that you have a desire to, you know, play with?
Explores. So, you know, piano is the biggest thing for me, that if I could, you know, I always say like, oh man, if I could go back and tell my younger self, if I could go back and tell my younger self, bro, because it's like, for me, I want to be like a master of music and all this stuff. And it's like, when I went to Full Sail, it was actually my dad who told me to change my degree, because I was in a recording arts degree, which is more engineering based for those who just don't know off rip what RA is. But like, it's much, you know, handling more engineering. You're not really doing the upfront like theory and whatnot. I switched to music theory, which was way more like, I was going to do drum theory in Berkeley. So let's just put that in mind. So to do piano theory at a whole different school is just,
Wow.
it just makes it it's like 10 times harder.
Right.
For
I
no
was about to
reason.
say,
If
it's
you
a
didn't
lot.
know you were signing up for it. And I wasn't signing up for that. But, you know, it was kind of one of those, well, if I get through it though, it's going to be pretty dope, because it'll give me an edge, because I knew that drums kind of came, but that doesn't really happen with every instrument. And I learned that too, even with piano. Like, I'll see pianists just kind of go, and I'm just like, God dang, bro, like, lucky. Like,
No,
you
for
know?
real.
But then it's like, okay, but I know how to drum, so like, stop. You know what I mean? Like, for me, piano was that main one. And now as a producer, you just want to keep getting better with keyboard and all this stuff. And even though I did take that theory degree, and that was the one that I graduated with, it was more like, after that, you have to still, like, that's just scratching the surface. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're still just scratching the surface. Like, I'd have to really become like a pianist. You know what I'm saying? I have to take lessons. I have to really get into it. And so that's one of those instruments. They say when you're young, you have the easiest time to soak up languages, knowledge. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to learn an instrument, they teach them young. You know, that's why I say teach them young. Because when you're older, your ability to learn is slowed down.
a little
But
shot.
it doesn't mean that it's impossible. So it's like, I will try as good as I can, as good on the piano and the keys as I can, because it'll just further me as a producer, and it'll add to my name. My name will hold more weight the more I can accomplish. You know what I'm saying? So like drums, I'm still like, I've been doing drums since I was 9, but every day I feel like I'm still like, bro, I'm like, God dang, bro, I feel like I'm rusty. Like,
Right.
you know, like, you know, you never feel like you're good enough in that sense. So I feel like that as a drummer, because I know like the drummers that I look up to. That's why I went to Berkeley. I was gonna go to Berkeley because it was from drummer influences. They influenced me that big. Till this day, I mean, I feel like they're light years ahead of me, and I can only play some of their songs. So it's like I just know it's an eternal journey. You know, there's no like ending, and I feel like that same thing for artistry. You know, there's no start time, there's no end. You just kind of, but you got to be about it though.
1000%.
You know, you got to be about it. You know what I mean? If you're not about it, it's not gonna work.
So what else are you working on right now that you could tell us about?
Right now it's so okay. I got a new single coming out. My boy named Jay King. He's over here. He's actually out of New York, but he's a dope, you know, R&B vibe, whatnot. He has his stuff going, and so we got a single acting out coming out. I have this big project. I don't have the name of it yet because I just, you know, I like to think of the names a little bit more, you know, before I get to it. But that one's the big one that I'm working on right now. That's like, I'm hoping to release it before the end of the summer, because this is my first opportunity where I'm starting to get features, people reaching out, actually want to do songs with me. And I wanted to do it that way because I just knew if I earn my way there, then I'll get the people to hit me up and they might want to do features, or, you know what I'm saying? A collab will make more sense because I got more records and stuff. So I had an EP that dropped in 2021. So I just want this one to just even be more than that, you know? Like, it's like your next thing that you're doing is the biggest thing in the world to you. You know what I'm saying? So, and I feel like that's everyone with any job that they're in. You know what I'm saying? It's like the next task is just the biggest task. So right now it's this 23 project. It's gonna have at least 3-4 max features, just depending on time, because I still want to get it out. You know, features be taking a minute. You know what I'm saying? People be taking their time. I'm like, hold on, now. I got a limit. I got deadlines, son. But you know, by late summer though, you know, and it's that's gonna be my new project. It'll be an EP. I'm thinking about albums, you know, maybe like another year. You know, I've given myself a good like 3.5-4 years now to really to release singles, get my sound together and stuff. But you know, now stepping into this next round.
There's a huge difference between car wreck attorneys and truck wreck attorneys. You can be a great car wreck attorney, but I bet you don't know anything about the trucking rules and regulations. Get the real experts at 1-800-TRUCK-WRECK. Expertise matters.
TRON is here, DJ Mrs.
I know that's right.
We talking all things music. I see you over there tatted, TRON. What was your first tattoo?
This actually my sleeve. This
Ooh, that's hard.
It goes all the way. I mean, I have a hoodie on because it was raining outside, but it goes all the way up, and it was actually one of those situations where I always feel like I just kind of like, it's not like I pulled one on them, but it was kind of more like, it was like, you know, let me just say the story so you can tell me. Maybe I pulled one on them. So maybe I did. I wanted my graduation, you know, gift after high school to be a tattoo. And so I was like, I wanted to be one tattoo. And so you see where I'm going. Y'all see where I'm going. So I said one tattoo because at first I was going to get, because, you know, it's like when you see your parents with tattoos, it's kind of like hard. And I know I'm putting myself to be in this exact same situation because my wife and I want to have kids soon. And then it's like, oh man, like you got to explain that one day. But it's cool because, you know that you did it for you. And that's like cool. But like, I know just like when you have to put that parent element, you be like, oh man, I hope they don't think that way though, right? Because I thought that way 1,000%. I was like, y'all got tattoos, I want that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was like that since I was a kid. And I used to get in trouble at school because I would draw my hands and all that stuff. And you know, he gets into the principal, oh, he draw all over his hands. So, you know, I'm like, it's bound to happen properly one day. So I wanted to be that one tattoo. Because at first I was gonna get a bunch of patches, and you know, I came and I had the whole like half outline done, and I sent a picture even to my dad. And he was like, yo, this is live. This is right now. I was like, this is right now.
You cannot stop it.
This is right now. And, you know, it was more funny because, like, my mom was the one who was way more, like, crazy about the whole thing itself. She's like, oh, my God, he wants to get tattoos. It's like, it's crazy, right? And by that time, I don't know really what kind of like shifted, but it was kind of just probably more of a just kind of like, oh well, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? It kind of maybe came to more of a realization, or boys will be boys, whatever you want to say. But then it was surprising him because she's like, hey, yeah, so he had the tattoo sleeve done. He can get the rest of it done, and da-da-da-da-da. He's like, okay, really? Like, seriously, you're just like, you're
okay
you're
with
supporting.
this?
He's like, hey, as long as he can take it. He said, let it. So by the end of the session, I actually had the whole outline of this Shinron from Dragon Ball Z, but I wanted to change it to a Japanese like style sleeve, and I had the whole outline done, and I had to wait for 2 weeks, and then I had to start filling it in and stuff. But yeah, you know what's crazy? It's like, the more you get, you would think the less your body, at least for me, the less your body just kind of, whatever.
Right.
My most recent tattoos, which is like my neck and like my stomach over here, most painful tattoos ever. And I'm like,
You think it get easier over
it's a mental
time.
thing, because it's like your body's like, well, I already have a lot. So it's like, oh man, this the motivation and the drive to be like, oh,
I'm
just
gonna
sit
finish
there.
this.
You almost think like, oh man, well, I do got a few. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I gotta finish this
Right.
one. No, but I want more. So I mean, I definitely can't carry that mentality. But yeah, this was my first one right here, and then it just kind of started going from there.
Yeah, that's dope. So with you growing up around music, how do you feel about the current state of hip hop and R&B and pop and everything like that?
Man, I think it's in a very special state because, we're at a point, and I kind of said the 2016 wave influence kind of made it, I say, introduce the door for, I always had this argument with people. It's like rock always had 1,000 genres, right? They always have alternative and classic metal. And if you don't know the branches, they could give you crap for it. Because it's like, oh, no, that's a metal band. That's a this. But hip hop, it's the same thing for me. It's like, because Jay-Z and a Lil Yachty and you know what I'm saying? Like, they're
all different.
There's so many different artists out there. I mean, just to say that it's all one kind of hip hop it's pretty crazy to me. So, I like the fact that I think that it's more of an embrace of, now there's subgenres, now there's waves, now there's different kind of influences that get into hip hop that maybe wouldn't have been introduced before just because of new elements, social media, whatever you want to say. Like, you got social media stars at this point. You know what I'm saying? I know people who get hired, or who talk about the movie field, and they be like, man, people be getting hired based on how many followers they be having nowadays and stuff. So it's different. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't like to compare it to how maybe it was when I was growing up, or when my mom was tour, or you know what I'm saying, like they were just like starting back in the 90s, because it's just different. Artists have to be a lot more on, like, really on all the time, and just you can't just release a couple albums and
be
the
cool.
label, and even labels, everything is just different. Everything is shifted, and you have the YouTube influence and stuff. So it's like, it's crazy. I think it's perfect in the sense of, now, before SoundCloud and all that, there was not as many ways for people, I feel, to become producers and to chase their dream, so to say. And I feel like today's age, it's a lot more of that. It's a lot more people who can be able to chase their dreams, because everything that you want or need is on a Reels or YouTube. Someone did it. You know what I'm saying? Someone has what you need. And even when I was in college and stuff, I just didn't even think that, like, sometimes, like, the resources, I'm like, man, but now with this new 2020 wave, boy, like, everything you need. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, even when I was writing songs, I'm like, songwriting technique. Oh man, bro, they got 8 videos all about what you could do better. Like, because you always got to learn. So, like, I think it's in a very special, you know what I'm saying? I think it's in a very special place, and I think it's just going to keep growing. I think hip hop is at a place where pop and rock and all that was maybe at a time where I was growing up. It's like the new pop, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just going to keep growing and keep getting bigger. It's almost like at this point about what coast is the more dominant coast? Is it West Coast? Is it, up north? Is it South? Or East Coast? You know what I'm saying? And then besides that, it's just gonna keep growing. So yeah, it's at a good spot though.
For sure.
That's dope.
Tron is here, posted on the corner with yours truly, Incognito, and DJ Mrs. Take me to the video set of 150. Take me to that day, bro.
Man, so the whole idea was just to make it as relatable as possible, man. Like, I was like, now the pandemic is over, I wanted to get more involvement. So I was like, what's some like jobs or things that we can just kind of like put in there and think, oh man, like, how can people relate to this? So me and my engineer were valet drivers. And so we went to Austell, Georgia, and my other buddy lives out there. So I was like, yo, hop in the video, you know what I'm saying? And we kind of made it like we're tired of our jobs. We're tired of the everyday whoop. And so we just want to break. And so, we take the keys to this, to the guy who has the Ford F-150. And I go around town, not just around like that town, picking up people who are just tired of their jobs and stuff. So you got the like girl who's, working at a coffee shop. She throw off her stuff. You got the guy washing cars. He throw it all down, and we just all start turning up and go to a spot. So, I think it had the most thought and the most like planning into it, because at one point I was literally driving like 7 people in a Ford F-150 like 1990, and that was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because I have them all in the back. So we got some good camera time on it though. So that's all that matters. But yeah, it was dope, man. It was definitely one of my favorite video experiences. I'll say that.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. So do you have any other dreams you want to accomplish outside of music?
Like, yes, because I think that music is. I think that people understand that once you grow. You got to grow your seed, right? Mm-hmm. But then you can use that seed to plant other seeds. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why you see a lot of more people getting sponsorships, endorsements, starting businesses. Conor McGregor, the Proper 12 whiskey. You know what I'm saying? Like going from that to that. I always wanted to have my hand in some kind of business. At first I wanted it to be music business, but nowadays I think don't just think that way. It could be a different business. It could be something that you wouldn't even imagine before, but just be educated and have the right people around, and you know what I'm saying? It's a good little system. So I mean, if I could, and I always say like if I could be acting, I would totally act, but I always would like for me it's like particular. Like I personally would want to act as like one of these dudes with the red lightsabers in Star Wars or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or like something like like superhero, supervillain, whatever, man. Like
that's
action
dope.
movie, whatever. Because I mean, I've been doing MMA since 2016, and so I always thought like if I could do like stuntman stuff too, that'd be pretty cool. Like I don't know,
dope.
you know what I mean? Just to expand my horizon.
So
but,
how did you get into MMA?
Well, it became one of those things where I used to like WWE back when I was a kid, and I still like. It's not like I don't like WWE. I think WWE is dope. You can be scripted all you want. People take real injuries. They take real shots. I'm like, you do it. You know what I'm saying?
No, for
you
real.
do it. You go on the road 365. You know what I'm saying? Days a year. It's insane. But with that being said, when I went to college, I always thought that there had to be something that kind of got me in a disciplined spot, because dudes, I mean, we can. We just be wild, man. You know what I'm saying? And like, especially down in Florida, with your homies and stuff, it's like, it's easier to get in trouble maybe than it is not. So what's a way to kind of make yourself not get in trouble besides staying at home and making music and stuff? Because, you can do that every day and you're going to get bored eventually, maybe. You want inspiration and stuff. So I was like, let me do something that's kind of more out of my element, and just, and I remember I was, a couple of buddies of mine were like pulling up some UFC fights and all that stuff. And I was like, man. And it was kind of like the chess game aspect of it, of the whatever the size was. It was just all about the chess game. You know what I'm saying? And so since then, I was like, well, let me just try it, because it might be scary, but it might be something that's like dope, and it could keep you level-headed more than anything. Level-headed was what I was aiming for, because I just didn't want to get myself in trouble one day, because I just, you 18 years old, you know what I'm saying? Like
in college,
17 in college, you just wild, bro. And not to say I even have, I mean, hey, we all have our like wild moments and whatnot, but it was just more like I just needed a discipline, something that was just gonna always keep me centered. So martial art, I took Taekwondo as a kid, but I was like super kid, So I started taking Muay Thai, and then I started getting into Jiu-Jitsu, and then I started just doing both. And I mean, that's MMA pretty much, just the wrestling aspect of it. And it just kind of just kept going, till this day I train it. I haven't trained them a bit because I've been focused more on like more stuff on the musical side, but I've been doing it since 2016. And when I was in college, I was doing it just kind of consecutively, every week, as much as I could outside of work. And it kind of kept me like in a more stress-free zone. I was able to get all my anger and all my like, I can get it all out there, and you can do it controlled, because if you do it too much, you can get knocked out, you can get put down. And not to say that you train, because I don't want to make MMA gyms look bad. You're not going there to try to knock people out. You're going there to train, but you have to spar and you have to learn what it's like to be in real situations too. So you shouldn't just hit pads all day is what I'm trying to say. But if you're having a bad day, you can't go into MMA and think you're about to put someone down. You might get put down first because you're having a bad day. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so the psychological aspect of it
discipline.
is just, it's a lot. So until this day, I mean, I'm forever a student, student of the game. So, that's, and that's both industries. And music and MMA are very similar to me. I don't know why.
For real?
Rhythmically speaking. They are.
Okay.
I mean, they all have like, it's all about timing, all about this and whatnot. But I mean, I just know that like, everything has a balance and a rhythm to it. Even Israel Adesanya, he just recently won his belt back, and he used to be a break dancer. You know what I'm saying? So it's like little stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, I could totally see that though. You know what I'm saying? It's like they both have poetry in motion, and maybe misunderstood games. You know what I'm saying? That whole kind of aspect. But yeah,
even when walking out, there's usually a song that you're prepping to.
Exactly.
You're in the zone.
You had to get into the zone.
music
Working
is
out,
the
who works out? Raise your hand if you work out without music. Come on.
Nobody.
Nobody works out without music. Everybody gonna work out with some music, man. Come on now.
Right.
So I mean, that's why I think that music and and even just sports in general, they definitely play hand in hand. I mean, come on, can't have one without the other.
For sure.
All right, Tron. In closing, bro, in this artistry, in this industry, what's some words of advice you may have received from your parents that sticks with you?
They're gonna be knives, and the knives can turn to roses, meaning that when you walk in there, meaning myself, because everyone thinks that because you come from there it's gonna be easier, but it's actually a lot harder because it's so much expectation, and like people don't really fall in love with you. They don't fall in love with your story. You have to make that happen, and that is more challenging than maybe making the music itself, because making music is one thing, but that's why I say we live in different times. We live in times where, people really like to see their artists on Instagram Live. They want to see their guy right now. They want to fall in love with you. They want to feel intimate. And it's hard to be intimate with people when they think that you have it all already. You know what I'm saying? And it's a hard statement to kind of just like say and just kind of like put out there, but it's true though. You know what I'm saying? I think that it might be this way. So I mean, it's like, so for me, the biggest thing that's why I wanted to go to college and like get degrees and do all the stuff I needed to do, because I was like, I'm not gonna come to this without a sword and a shield. Then you know what I'm saying?
Come on now.
You got daggers, I got a shield. You know what I'm saying? Like I got, it's like saying that you have more than just tough skin. It's more that you're ready for what's to come. A lot more no's than yeses. It doesn't matter who you are. It's a lot more no's than yeses. I always trying to say that to everybody who even asks me, like, yo, bro, what can you say? A lot more no's than yeses, because once you're in the what I call the Floyd Mayweather, the A side. You know what I'm saying? Always, because when you go to Floyd Mayweather fight, he's always the A side. You know what I'm saying? Don't matter who he's fighting. Until you get more on the Floyd Mayweather side, that's just how it is. It don't matter who you are, and you're not special. You're just another human being. So that's why I'd be like, and you can use your assets and your influences and everyone to help you and to inspire you, but they can't really do anything for you. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand that, and like, in A, B, C, and D, everyone, the rest of it's just kind of written. But yeah, the knives turn into roses, because the potential phrase of that is that the daggers can, turn to roses, and because people can like you. You know what I'm saying? But you're not going to be welcomed with open arms. So
right.
Yeah.
That's 1,000.
That sticks more, because that's more than the be prepared for this and that, and and just or work hard. You know what I'm saying?
Because your journey gonna be different from there.
Right. So you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna tell me to do exactly what they did or do this or do that, or besides just work hard and stay on your craft, kind of what you're probably expecting to kind of hear. You know what I'm saying? Oh, stay on your craft, learn. You know what I'm saying? Keep building up. Meet good people, network, all that stuff. Yes, absolutely. But the knives and the daggers, actually it's daggers to roses. I said it wrong. Daggers to roses, even though it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same, it's the same concept. You know what I'm saying? And they always involve daggers and roses with like different kind of elements. That's why you always see people with like daggers and rose tattoos and stuff like that, kind of like style. But it's kind of, I don't know. I'm not gonna speak because I'm not about to just sound stupid up on radio. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying they have exactly to do with each other. But there have always been an involvement of daggers and roses and whatnot. And I know that particular phrase meant that they're gonna throw the knives at you, kind of like the 300 Army with all the arrows and stuff. But you can turn those knives into roses though. It's like it's gonna happen, but you can help that. You just gotta do what you gotta do though. You know what I'm saying? So it's a process. So yeah.
DJ Mrs., we got a new poster on the corner alumni.
Come on now.
He's a husband, son,
Come on.
drummer,
Yeah.
artist.
MMA fighter.
Come on, Tron! We appreciate you, my guy.
Hey, appreciate you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
guys.
Great
Seriously.
interview.
That was great. Yeah.